Welcome back. You're still watching Wake Up Nigeria. And right here, I have with me a very pretty lady. She goes by the name Esse Anyebene. She is a practicing counseling psychologist that specializes in working with individuals. She is the founder of SAM Africa Limited. Welcome to Wake Up Nigeria. Now, did I get that pronunciation right? SAM?
SAM.
SAM.
Full Slay at Home Mom Africa.
Woo!
Yeah.
Slay at Home
Slay at Home
Mom
Mom
Africa.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's definitely a pleasure having you here with us. Now, tell me, what is that about?
Okay, basically, I work with women that have that struggle of managing and balancing their life after they have kids. Personally, I experienced it, and there were bouts of depression. I attempted suicide along the way, and I saw the struggle. And always, and then the struggle tends to get into a loop where instead of thinking about it helping you out, it makes it worse. Like, oh, I'm not meeting up with my peers, I'm not meeting up, and then you're like, okay, how do I meet up? Instead of that helping you, it now gets into that loop of depression and makes it worse, and you're not able to meet up. You understand? So it's like a drag. So I went through that, and that's when I did research, and because of what I studied in school and what I've been doing before then, because I've always been counseling, I discovered mental resilience. So what I do now is encourage women, help them to build their mental resilience, which is mental strength.
All right. So help women build their mental strength. So now, would you say, having a weak mental state is what actually leads to depression? And also, you know, they talk about postpartum depression. So what would you say are the triggers for that?
So it doesn't mean the person is strong or weak.
Yeah.
So everybody at different points in their lives experience different things. And it's a combination of everything. So for me, it wasn't because I was weak in quotes, but it was a combination of unresolved trauma. Let me dive into my own history a bit. I'd suffered rape twice. I had depression while I was in primary school because I was being molested. I was molested for over 10 years. So a combination of everything. So it's not just one or two. And I lived in an abusive home. So it was like a pool of just chaos, you understand? And everything mixed together. And you just assume, oh, you're in school, you're better, you're married, you're fine, everything. People tend to max everything up until something just happens and you explode.
It triggers everything. All right, which leads us to our topic today, right? Dealing with trauma. And so now let's get into that. So what would you say is the best way, right? I mean, okay, fine, to understand, right, the role of genetics and then trauma and the maintenance of all of that.
Okay, so for the role of genetics in mental health issues, I would say it's yes and no, because there's still a debate, there's a drag, because it's not absolute. The fact that you have it in your family doesn't mean it will happen to you. Yes. And the fact that you don't even have it doesn't mean it cannot happen. That's the irony of it. It can just suddenly, nobody has it, and all of a sudden, you just diagnose schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or manic depression and stuff like that. So a combination of both, and sometimes it could have no relation whatever with genetics. Yes. So what I would say is someone that is someone that has it in their lineage or gene is more at risk of having it. But the gene can be dormant without any triggers. So someone that has schizophrenia in their line or bipolar then takes maybe just whiff. Woo! Have you ever experienced where friends are smoking, they've been smoking for a long time, and this person like, I can't smoke, and then they just take it once like that, and then that's all. Is triggered. You understand? So if it's in the person's family, there's every possibility and every probability. Yes.
So now, is there a way to check genetically to know if you have certain things? Because some people actually talk about, okay, man, when you're getting married, there's certain tests you should do. So is this something you would advise? Is this something that can be done to know, like, fine, history, check all of that? I don't know how.
I think that would raise stigma. Okay. It's possible to check it, but like I said, you might check it and you might have it and not trigger it. Okay, for me personally, in my family line, we've had issues of most of my relatives, my dad, my aunties, my sister, diagnosed of high blood pressure before they are 40, right? Before they are even 30. My sister started having blood pressure issue before she clocked 30, and now she's having to balance that. My dad, the same thing. But I because of, I know I'm already predisposed or at risk of it,
Yes.
started watching my health.
Watching it, yes.
You understand? So it's possible to check, but it still doesn't
Matter.
Doesn't really matter.
Okay, so now let's talk about maintaining it. So peradventure you have it, and you
Yeah.
probably have gone through certain traumas and all of that. So where it's triggered, or before it's triggered, how do we maintain to make sure that everything just is not triggered?
So exercise, healthy food. Like I saw you preparing a meal with vegetables, healthy, less processed food, less food with not much sugar and carbohydrate and all those stuff, and exercise.
Exercise.
Basically,
Okay.
exercise.
All right. So healthy eating
Yes.
definitely goes a long way, and then exercise. Okay. So now, from your experience, you spoke about all of this. So would you give us from your practical experience now, how did you manage to get from that point of literally being depressed to getting healthy, or getting to back to like a balanced parts in your life?
Okay, for me personally, why I advocate for therapy?
Yes.
Because I had to seek therapy.
Okay.
So sometimes you just need someone to open up to.
Yeah.
And that was when I was seeking therapy, I started seeing the patterns, and I started seeing unresolved trauma. Started seeing where I had feelings of low self-esteem, what I needed to work on. Because I needed to deal with all these things in order to work on myself in the now. I needed to resolve things that have happened, the way I perceived my father, the way, what my mom, or how I felt my mom allowed me to go through what I went through. Because my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And then I was molested for 10 years. And
Yeah.
she was always there.
always
And I was like, why didn't you notice?
Yeah.
There was a bit of resentment. I had to let go of all those energy. And that's one. So therapy helps with that. And then I exercise.
Okay.
Lately, I've put myself on a personal challenge. I do runs. It must not something so vigorous. You must not go to the gym. You can just run in your area, your street, 10 minutes every day. And I won't say I'm strict on diets.
Yeah.
I still cheat. Let me not say something that someone that knows me like, I saw her drinking mineral.
No,
So,
but at least you know, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we'll go on a quick break, but we're coming back to this conversation. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm still having a very interesting conversation with Ese Ayebene. All right. So we're talking about maintaining, genetics influence on trauma.
Yes.
And maintaining, how to maintain all of that. So now we're also talking about the idea of, will I say, sensitization, in the sense that, people talk about how it is necessary to accept therapy, especially for the fact that in this part of the world for a long time, people see it as stigmatizing to say, okay, fine, I'm in therapy and things like that. So what do you have to say from that point, from someone who has actually been through it? And what would you say the culture of like accepting therapy, talking about it, creating awareness about depression, mental health, what would you have to say about that? Is that a great thing, or is it something that we need to check?
Okay, for the first part, you talked about therapy.
Yes.
So the irony of it is the more we become less of a communal community where, initially we used to have support system. Your grandmother was there, your auntie,
Yes.
you could come back and you have 20 people to talk to. You understand? But now we live in a city where you are guided. You want to talk, but you're like, who do I talk to?
do I talk
So the truth is, therapy has come to stay.
Okay.
And it's going to become something of a norm as we move on, because people trust people less these days. You understand? You need someone to just need a space where there's no judgment. Sometimes therapy, I've seen clients that talk to me and then they're like, okay. And I'm like, this person actually what I do, I go a step further to advise that they get a support system. Because I tell my clients, I will not want you to be in therapy for too long. You become dependent on the therapist, right? So you need a support system. And that's where I start building my clients to win them off me. One of my clients was like, I will always need you. I said, no, you cannot always need me. You need a support system after that. So therapy basically has come to stay. I know there's stigma about it. Some people don't still want to pay for it.
Yes, because
charge
it by hour.
Yeah, charge by hour. But the truth is, sometimes after therapy, I seek therapy.
After therapy?
Yeah, I talk to my therapist.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's draining.
It is.
It's draining. Active listening. Have you ever tried to listen to someone, like most times we listen, but we don't listen actively for so long.
Yes.
You can listen for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and your mind goes to something else.
Yeah.
But I have to be active because I need to listen to what you're saying and what you're not saying.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's draining. And I still have my own personal life. And I have, so some people say like that, but it's something that is worth it at the end of the day. Everybody that I've not encountered so far, any of my clients have said they've not been able to get help. So therapy is something that it's good. If you can get it for free, fine. If you have a support system that helps, fine. But if it has gotten to a point where your support system is not able to deal with it, then seek professional help.
All right.
And in the area of awareness, there's a research that showed that the period where mental health awareness was increased in some parts of the world, it wasn't done in Nigeria though, there was an increase in people suffering from that particular mental health issue, that's specifically anxiety and depression.
Okay.
So sometimes the more we talk about it, the more people are drawn to it. So I will tell people this, depression is normal.
It's normal.
You know, being sad is normal. Being anxious is normal. Stage fright is normal. But by the time you want to say, oh, because I have stage fright all the time, I'm suffering from anxiety disorder, no. So these are normal things that we actually phase out. It phases out. But when you can't deal with it for a long period of time,
and where it's affecting
and it
work
affects
and
your
life.
functioning, your normal functioning life, that is when there's a problem.
There's a problem. Amazing. I mean, this has definitely been a very enlightening conversation. Thank you so much, Essie,
Thanks for having me
here. You're so pretty. Stop smiling at me.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like to have this conversation forever, but we definitely have to go.
All right.
Thank you, and hope to see you next week.
Oh, yeah, next Tuesday.
All right. Amazing.